in the midst of the poet's description of the rains, and I think we did the last sentence, none saw through dank, drenched weeks the dungeon sun. The sun was, as it were, hidden, imprisoned, and all through these dank is something oozy, watery, drenched weeks, soaked with water through days after days, none saw the sun who was imprisoned behind the cluster of clouds. Even when no turmoil vexed air's somber rest, even when there was no flurry like thunder, lightnings, flooding waters, disturbing the atmosphere, or a faint ray glimmered through weeping clouds. Clouds are pictured as if they are weeping. That is, water comes out through them continuously, and through those clouds a faint ray of sunshine glimmers, as a sad smile gleams, veiled by returning tears. Now here is an image. Someone is overcome by tears, emotions, and the person tries to smile as with a certain sadness about it. But the smile is again and again veiled by tears which return. That's what happens to the faint ray which is covered again and again by the weeping clouds. All promised brightness failed, at once denied. The brightness that is promised by the faint ray fails. It is negated by the downpour from the clouds, or soon condemned. The promised brightness died like a brief-lived hope. The ray, a single ray, creates a hope, but that hope for light, that hope for the warmth of the sun is very brief-lived. It is interrupted. And then a last massive deluge, thrashed dead, mire, all the muddy earth is thrashed till it is dead by a massive deluge of rain. It is the parting kick of the rains, and a subsiding mutter left all still. After the deluge, all is still. And the rain slides in a subsiding, as if it is muttering something, or only the muddy creep of sinking floods, the floods of waters which are now retiring, they creep along the muddy surface, or only a whisper and green toss of trees. The trees are shaking, vibrating, as if it is a green toss this way and that way, and that creates a sound as if it is a whisper. This is the parting scene of the monsoon. After that, earth's mood now changed. At the end of the rains, the mood of earth, he treats earth as a living being, changes. She lay in lulled repose, resting as if she is lulled into rest, exhausted. The hours went by with slow, contented tread. The time passes, treading through the hours, but in a slow, contented manner. After the hurry and flurry of the rains, there is a marked difference. A wide and tranquil air, remembered peace. Till now the air is disturbed violently, but now the air itself remembers the peace that it had before the rain set in. A wide and tranquil air, remembered peace. Earth was the comrade of a happy sun. The sun is shining, not too warm, but a happy sun. And the earth is a comrade. She enjoys the company of the sun. A calmness neared as of the approach of God. Now with the following lines, if you carefully read, you will see the description of a meditation. How meditation begins, what precedes a meditation, what happens as meditation progresses. It is also the description of the change of season. A calmness neared as of the approach of God. When there is an approach of God, there is a silent calmness. Suddenly, everything falls still. And you begin to wonder why. That is, it heralds the advent of God. A light of musing trance lit soil and sky, as if there is a trance, musing, contemplating, and that trance lights up both the soil of the earth and sky. Now, in terms of meditation, there is first the calmness. Thereafter, as meditation gathers, there is a gentle light linking up the soil, which is the physical, and the sky, the higher spheres. And an identity and ecstasy filled meditation's solitary heart. During meditation, there is a certain solitariness. At any rate, the particular meditation he has in mind here. And that solitary heart, it is not filled with other presences. As we noted the other day, when life's cherished guests are left outside, and the heart is an empty chamber, it is solitary, waiting for the presence of God to fill it. And this is, and an identity, oneness with the divine, and a resultant ecstasy. Not pleasure, not joy, but ecstasy. Filled meditation's solitary heart. So first the calmness, next the light of musing trance, concentration, Then a solitary heart, which is occupied by union, identity with God, and a sequential ecstasy. A dream loitered in the dumb mind of space. Some vision of things to happen, loiters gently. It does not overwhelm the meditator, but loiters, gently steps in the dumb mind of space. The mind is not noisy, not articulate, but it is dumb, quiet. Time opened its chambers of felicity. An exaltation entered and a hope. This applies to the outer situation also of the earth and its comrade happy sun. But an inner meaning is an exaltation entered and a hope following that loitering dream. An inmost self looked up to a heavenlier height. It is at that moment that the inmost self from within looks up to a heavenlier height. An inmost thought kindled a hidden flame. So there are three things here. An inmost self looked up to a heavenlier height, and an inner thought, an inmost thought kindled a hidden flame. Not the outer thought, but deep within there is a purified thought, and that kindles a hidden flame of aspiration, and the inner sight adored an unseen sun. Inner sight. The outer sight can adore only a sun that is seen, but to adore an unseen sun, it requires an inner sight. Without physical impact, it can sense the unseen sun and adore it. So all the three, the self within, the thought here, and the sight, in their subtle dimensions, they look up to a heavenlier height, kindle a hidden flame, and adore an unseen sun. Then he returns. 3 thoughtful seasons passed with shining tread, and scanning one by one the pregnant hours. Pregnant hours. Time is pregnant with something to come. Savitri is about to be born. That is why he has used the word pregnant. Watched for a flame that lurked in luminous depths. A flame, a divine flame that still lurks, because its time is not yet. The vigil of some mighty birth to come. In the external context, this applies to the awaited birth of Savitri. But in the inner context, the being waits for a mighty birth of God to come. And then he describes what are the 3 thoughtful seasons. The seasons, he says, thoughtful seasons. Thoughtful to indicate that it is something more than physical seasons. They are waiting. Autumn led in the glory of her moons after the rains the autumn. The moon is at her height in splendor. Autumn led in the glory of her moons and dreamed in the splendor of her lotus pools, because the moon is reflected in these lotus pools which are beautiful at this moment, and after autumn, winter and dew time laid their calm, cool hands. Winter follows. After winter, what is called dew time. We living here in the south do not know quite anything about dew time, but where there is snow and where there is a gentle dew falling, there is a period that is also a season among the 6 seasons. And winter and dew time laid their calm, cool hands on nature's bosom, still in a half sleep. Nature is still in half sleep, and winter and dew time lay their cool hands on her bosom and deepened with hues of lax and mellow ease the tranquil beauty of the waning year. The year is passing. It has a quiet beauty, and that beauty is deepened with mild colors of loose, mellow ease, ripe, mature ease. After that, then spring, an ardent lover, leaped through leaves and caught the earth bride in his eager clasp. The spring, the season of spring, is compared to an ardent, eager lover, because in all poetic imagery, spring is the season of love. So he says, spring embodies love. Where there is spring, there is a movement of love abroad. So, an ardent lover leaped through leaves. All the trees are in blossom, and through those leaves he leaps and caught the earth bride in his eager clasp. The earth is pictured as a bride of this lover who is the spring. His advent, the advent of spring, was a fire of irised hues, rainbow colors came up from all sides. It was like a fire. His arms were a circle of the arrival of joy. This leap of the lover, his advent, shoots up a fire of rainbow colors, and his arms were a circle of the arrival of joy, because he has clasped the earth bride, and his arms are pictured as a circle bringing joy with them. His voice, the voice of the spring, was a call to the transcendent sphere, to the realm of the transcendent. He goes into the spiritual dimension when he says, his voice was a call to the transcendent sphere, whose secret touch upon our mortal lives, the secret touch of the transcendent. It is secret because it is not always patent, whether we are aware of it or not. The touch of the transcendent always operates. So he says, whose secret touch upon our mortal lives keeps ever new the thrill that made the world, the throb of delight, the thrill of creation that ushered in the world, that is never allowed to get stale, that is always kept fresh by this touch, secret touch of the transcendent, and which remolds an ancient sweetness to new shapes. All through there is an ancient, sempiternal sweetness, and that is constantly renewed to suit the new shapes. That is, it is clothed in new and newer shapes and guards intact and changed by death and time, which are the circumstances of creation, the answer of our hearts to nature's charm, it never gets stale. The response of our hearts to the charm of nature never gets stale or old, because this secret touch of the transcendent and keeps forever new and yet still the same. Every moment there is a newness, and yet it is the same moment. The throb that ever wakes to the old delight, the throb in our being, which is always responsive, which always remembers the old delight and beauty and rapture and the joy to live. These things are always fresh, whatever the suffering, whatever the pain, whatever the duration of time, that is always fresh. Beauty and rapture and the joy to live. So, with the arrival of spring, there is the secret touch of the transcendent is renewed, and all these things take place. His coming brought the magic and the spell. At his touch, life's tired heart grew glad and young. At the touch of spring, the lover, the tired heart of the earth grows young and glad. He made joy a willing prisoner in her breast. That is, joy is captured and sustained in the bosom of earth. It is not allowed to go. It is a willing prisoner. Joy stays willingly. His grasp, his hold was a young god's upon earth's limbs, firm, beautiful, life-giving. Changed by the passion of his divine outbreak, he made her body beautiful with his kiss. This is the completion of the poetic imagery of his grasp of the earth bride. Impatient for felicity he came, the spring that is the lover. He comes hungering for felicity of the company of his bride, high fluting with the coil's happy voice. With the arrival of spring, the bird, coil, coos, and its voice is in a high pitch. So it is as if he is fluting high fluting with the coil's happy voice, his peacock turban trailing on the trees, the clouds having various shapes look like a turban. Also, the peacock is come to life, and it looks as if the peacock forms his turban. The wings of the peacock forms his turban. If the coil's happy voice is his fluting, the wings of the peacock trailing on the trees is like his turban, headdress, headgear. His breath was a warm summons to delight. The very warm breath of spring is a call to the play of delight, to participate in the game of delight. The dense, voluptuous azure was his gaze. Azure is the blue sky. Dense, full of blue color, voluptuous, hungry was his gaze. It was as if it is the gaze of the spring. A soft, celestial urge. Now from below, in the earth, what happens? A soft, celestial urge surprised the blood of the earth bride, rich with the instinct of God's sensuous joys. It remembers the sensuous joys of God in spring, and that urge comes up, revealed in beauty. All around there is beauty. A cadence was abroad, a rhythm, a particular sweet note was abroad, insistent on the rapture thrill in life. It was insisting on yielding or on capturing the thrill of rapture or rapturous thrill in life. Immortal movements touched the fleeting hours. Hours were fleeting, but there was some immortal touch about them. Nobody could forget them. A godlike, packed intensity of sense. Sense, the quality of sensation, of grasping in sense, that was very intense. Godlike, not gross, not animal-like, but a godlike intensity of sense, made it a passionate pleasure even to breathe. At this hour, in this season, even to breathe gave pleasure, an intense pleasure. It was a joy to be alive. All sights and voices wove a single charm. Everything combined to weave a single charm of love over the entire earth expanse. The life of the enchanted globe, the whole globe is enchanted, and that life became a storm of sweetness and of light and song, a revel of color and of ecstasy, a hymn of rays, a litany of Christ. A strain of choral priestly music sang. There was, as if when the trees are moving, when the wind is flowing, as if there is a priestly music, something inspiring, something elevating, choral, as if there is a chorus, not single. A strain of choral priestly music sang, swung on the swaying censer of the trees. A sacrifice of perfume filled the hours. The trees are swaying. They are looked upon as if they are the bowl or the vessel holding the incense, which burns towards God. And swung on the swaying censer of the trees, a sacrifice of perfume filled the hour. There was a fragrance and a perfume rising from the earth to the heavens. Ashokas burned in crimson spots of flame. Ashoka trees had turned red like a flame, pure like the breath of unstained desire, desire which is not vitiated, which is unstained, is pure. And like the breath of unstained fire, white jasmines haunted the enamored air. There was the smell, the fragrance of the white jasmines. The very air was enamored. Pale mango blossoms fed the liquid voice of the love-maddened koil. Love-maddened koil, that bird, it is supposed to be always maddened with love in the spring season. And the sight of the pale mango blossoms, it fills it. It doesn't feel any hunger for any other thing. Its liquid voice drew strength, nourishment from the mango blossoms. And the brown bee muttered in fragrance mid the honey buds. Everywhere honey is forming, and the brown bee mutters in satisfaction, in contentment. mutters to itself in the fragrance mid the honey buds. The sunlight was a great God's golden smile. The sunlight, the light from the sun, was like a golden smile of a great God. And this is after this description of the advent of the spring, the beauty and impact of spring at its height. He says, all nature was at beauty's festival. It was as if there was a festival of beauty everywhere, and all nature was present. Now at this time, Savitri comes to birth. We shall take it up at our next session. We end with all nature was at beauty's festival.